How's it going, everyone? It is Tuesday, March 5th, and this is the video for today. So let's get right into it with the market on a D1 basis. Our uptrend is still continuing, and we're seeing some testing, some selling of that uptrend right now. So fundamentally, again, no big news has come out. The technical price action still suggests that we are in a bullish trend, and we know what to watch out for. We have some economic releases coming out this week in the unemployment report, CPI next week, FOMC the week after. We got the ISM services today, which we'll talk about in a second. But again, our long-term market bias, we know what could change it. It's not going to be changing every single day. But I like to talk about it to just remind myself where I stand on these things, especially because I'm still learning them and it can be easy to not keep that information in my head. So technically, fundamentally, we haven't had any major shifts. Let's look at what's happening on a shorter term time frame. So let's look at this M15 chart over here. We can see how after a couple of days of weak selling, right, choppy profit taking, market found some support, moved up higher, and started to hit some resistance. Yesterday was a bit of a weird day. We had this weak bullish trend channel. We're testing VWAP moving higher, testing VWAP moving higher, broke through the top side of this channel, M15, M5 buying climax, if you were to draw a line right here. Broke through that, compressed for a while, and then we sold off hard, forming a bearish hammer at the end of the day. Now, we don't really know what the news pop was, and it's always funny because even if you knew what the news pop was, it doesn't really matter because the news already happened, right? Like, what are you going to do? I mean, maybe you can know it for the future, but if it's some piece of news that's a non-recurring event, it's a low volume day, you know that that is ripe for these little pops like that. So how can I delete this guy? Okay. So got a little bearish reversal. We had some overnight profit taking. There was no major news that I saw overnight. There was some occasional, minor headlines for certain stocks or certain earnings, but nothing major happening on the market that wasn't already priced in. We had a pretty big gap down, about $3, compressed for a bit. We tried to rally up here. This is a reaction to the ISM numbers. It came out slightly below expectations, 52.6 versus 53, but fairly in line. It wasn't an insane beat. We're still in contraction territory for ISM services, which is good. Big red bearish engulfing candle at the low of the day. So I believe that if you fast forward here, bearish want to P-cross early in the day. This is a failed move into the gap, and this is where you can go lower. Some volume is pretty decent, and we have some momentum from the prior day. I think this is an excellent place to take some day trade shorts. On the D1 chart, you know that support is probably going to be somewhere around this level. 8 EMA, this upward sloping low plus trend line coming into play. That's the first one. And then the second one I have is right around this 504 or even here 503 level as our next level of support. Our resistance is the gap, so this high at 510. And then the second one is this all-time high at 514. So over here, as we were moving up, we were looking for any signs of a buying climax, which is a very quick move higher, accelerates away from the 8 EMA, breaks through the trend line, goes a little bit parabolic. That has the setup for a nasty reversal, so I've been told. So keep an eye out for that. This wasn't anything crazy, in my opinion, on such a day. And then today we just had some follow-through selling. What I'm noticing, which is interesting, is that over here we would have pretty big moves, and then we'd have a single drop, and then we'd have some more aggressive buying. So a couple of days of profit taking, digest some of the moves, and then after the breakout, we go off to the races, dip, move up, pause, and over here it seems like the price action is not as bullish as it was a little bit over here. And the reason I'm seeing that is because we're getting a test, another test fairly quickly, and then we're moving up higher on these big gaps. And we had a day of gains over here on the first, and we weren't even really able to hold a lot of those gains for 2 days, right? I'd rather see most of this candle be preserved and then move up higher. That'd be a lot more bullish. But the fact that we tested this flat bottom, H8 candle, a bit of a reversal on the daily here. It just tells me that I want to be a little bit less bullish than I was over here. What does that mean? Well, I think on my shorter term swings, we want to be a little bit more collective, a little bit more passive. We're still bullish, but I think because the price action isn't as strong over here, we know that the rallies had a pretty big move. Selling premium could be a great way to capture your trade of being bullish but not as bullish as a call or even a CDS. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Again, it depends on the stock. It depends on your portfolio, right? But in my opinion, I don't want to have a portfolio that's just all long calls right now. I think to me that bullish sentiment of my portfolio would not reflect what I'm seeing in the market. So with that being said, we know kind of our longer term market bias is still bullish. The shorter term market bias, we're seeing some more back and forth more frequently, right? We're not able to hold this move up here, tested it pretty quickly, and we need to see a nice strong reaction to confirm that the trend is still intact in the strength that we want it to. I do believe we're still going to go up. I do believe that this is still a pullback. I'm just looking out for what could change my opinion on the bullishness of the market. So let's look at what's happening on an intraday basis. If I'm swing trading, I'm taking a mix of some shares or some calls on stocks deep in the money that I really like. They're a month out, 0.75 delta, and I'm also putting on some put credit spreads. So I'm balancing the bullishness of my portfolio. We mentioned the drop earlier in the day, the gap down and go. And it looks like now we're just sort of consolidating, not being able to make any sort of major move in the last 2 hours. If I looked at the market components here, tech was pretty weak. Mega cap tech was very, very weak. Semis was pretty weak. Comms were pretty weak. TLT was up, which was a nice sign. Finance was doing pretty good. Staples was doing pretty good as well. But VIX was up. Gold was up. So flight to safety stocks were generally pretty up. Tech was pretty bearish. And then there was some other rally breath. It wasn't like every single thing was going down. But generally, there's more stocks on our heavy sells than our heavy buys. So what I was seeing and what's making up the market, there were bearish signs early in the day. So I was bearish when I started the day. We did have a 1OP cross over here. You see, we hugged the low of the day. We couldn't produce. Pushed down to make a new low of the day. And then we got a decent response over here, 1155. So this might be the first signs of a bullish reversal. And going into today, what I was looking for was we have a gap and go. We know that this move usually exhausts itself in the first 90 minutes. Okay, so if it exhausts itself in the first 90 minutes, I'm watching for a bounce. And I don't want to be chasing here at the low of the day of the market. I want to see a market sort of bounce and see stocks preserving their relative weakness at that time. So if you are going to be day trading this, you'd wait for the bounce to come up, and then you would want to get on this next leg lower. But also you don't want to get too crazy, right? We know we're still in a big bullish uptrend. You don't want to get hugely, hugely moving down on the short side over here. So you'd stick it on a shorter term trade, very, very weak stocks. There's lots of technical breakouts that we'll take a look at when I give you the pick of the day. Let's look at the pick from the last video, which is MS. So MS is doing very, very nicely. You can see market had a big move down today. MS had a move down and was able to preserve the gains and challenge back this high of the day. So our PCS right over here is in very, very good shape. As it starts to move up higher, we get that time to gain coming in our favor. Our second one here is DG. Had a day of pause, and it moved up higher. And you can see that because it's a consumer defensive and the market's going down, some money's flowing in into DG, coming very close to a profit target, holding a lot of these gains as the market has made a very, very large move to the downside. So I believe in any sort of market tailwind, we can see a push up higher to break through this high of the day and hit our profit target. And finally, our other one here is Netflix. So we got in here at the swing, and it's been on the tech side selling off, but still at our stop rate. We want to have this, stop at around 600. It's been finding support at this level over here. You can see here, this is the original source of the breakout. So there's some buying at this level. Let's draw on a line over here that it seems to be respecting and been compressing over here. So we're not worried about Netflix. We want to see this level hold and move up higher. And we said in the last video too, right? This is a stock that makes big moves. It'll check that breakout and that'll make its next leg higher. So we just have to be patient on something like this. Let's go over some of the nice picks in this video. On the bullish side here, we have a couple of nice options. First one is JPM. We've been trading this a couple of times here. Financials have been very, very strong, and we're moving up steadily higher. Really nice move up today. Pretty deep retracement, but given what the market's doing, I believe this provides a pretty nice entry point for a swing. TMUS is one that I like a lot as well. You can see it's a pretty choppy stock, but it broke out of compression. Nice move higher today. There might have been some stuff with AT&T, I believe, or Verizon earnings. I got to see. But pulling back over here, finding some support above VWAP, and we're actually trying to get above this level right here. Some minor horizontal resistance on this stock. So TMUS is one I'm going to mention for a put credit spread. We're going to talk about that in a second. Hog is a really great example of some relative strength here. At an alert set at this high of February 12th, we broke through that pretty strongly. Very, very nice, strong move in this stock. It is a pretty choppy stock, but I think this is one that it could set up pretty well for a day trade. You can see there's just a lot of trend lines coming over here. There's some major resistance points, so that's kind of why I leaned away from it, but I did want to call out on just the excellent strength of the move today. Heavy volume, consistent, tight price action, very nice moves higher. There's also a lot of bearish breakouts today, a lot of bearish breakdowns. So Google was one example. Looks like it's reversed pretty hard, but broke through its 200-day SMA, and it's had a very weak daily chart ever since earnings. Try to get to the gap, and it's been slowly, slowly moving down. Tesla was another one today. Again, weak earning, try to get to the gap, and then started to break down. You can see here how it's actually been reversing over here. So my position not looking super hot. ZS also very nice breakdown today. And you can see here how the tide's changing, bouncing off VWAP, but decent bounce over here. So some of these late day sellers over here have been starting to show some signs of strength. Snow is an excellent one. Super weak post earnings, blowing through everything, still hugging the low of the day. So Snow is one that I think could be a very nice late day trade short. And I think FSLY is probably my favorite pick on the bearish side. Intraday chart is finding a little bit of support on this level, but you can see here really weak post earnings, hogging this compression through this horizontal resistance, broke through this low plus low minus trend line today, and has a lot of time to digest some of these gains while the market was going higher. So on the short pick side, if you need a bearish pick, I would go with FSLY, but I think my pick of the day is going to be the TMUS put credit spread. So what I would do for TMUS is we're going to go to the March 15th, the 162.50 and the 160 put credit spread. And you can try to get this. I mean, you can get it for more than 25 cents. So you can try to get it for maybe 28, 29 cents potentially. But here's what I like about it. So Doesn't really move much. On a day that we're down, it is broken up, trying to get out of this compression over here through this horizontal resistance level, and we have a VWAP Q and the 50 SMA pretty much right at this level, and they're sloping up, so they'll give us some time. We also have plenty of time before earnings. So my pick today is going to be the TMUS 315, 162.50, 160 put credit spread. So we are going to add that to our picks. And the only condition where I wouldn't take this is if we see a major sell-off in the stock that comes all the way down today, and the market also does very, very poorly later in the day. So give it some time, but so far I like what I'm seeing here in the stock and in the market. It's been holding up very, very well. And we may have a chance to see that bullish reversal I was talking about, given the fact that we haven't been able to do much today. So wouldn't take any longs, but we want to get past VWAP, get through some of this move down lower. You can feel a little bit more confident about taking the TMUS put credit spread. So thanks everyone for watching today, and I will catch you all in the next video.